Okay, so yeah, Karina, we're almost there. Waiting for the okay from my producer over here, live action
Look at you,
producer.
fancy.
Right. So, all right. So, hello, everybody. Thank you for joining Pro Surf Blog today for some epic surf news. Today, we're running a board meeting format with Karina from Saltwater Fix.
Hey, what's up?
You, Karina. So I guess we have to start with the most important thing, surfing. You surf today?
I did. I surfed South Mission Jetty. Actually, that's a lie. I surfed about 30 feet away from the jetty.
Okay.
I wasn't in the mood to get all aggro with people.
Yeah.
So
So
it was fun though.
how
Clean,
many
fun, good time to be out. How about you?
I decided to not surf so I can be ready to go online for this live session today, but I was drooling. I was looking at the camera. So anybody who's sitting at home who's thinking about surfing, if you're in Oceanside, the harbor looks really fun. So look pretty smooth, consistent, and a little lined up. So for all the locals that'll be mad that I'm telling people where to go, that's where you should go.
Secret spot. So what side of did you say you surf the harbor or the pier over there?
I tend to surf the harbor. The pier is cool too. I don't want to upsell the harbor too much, but that's kind of my go-to. I like the vibes and the waves, and yeah, it's kind of a little bit out of the way. The pier is a little more gritty, and which is cool. They got great waves over there.
Mm-hmm.
Oceanside's cool. There's waves, all up and down the beach.
Everywhere.
Yeah, so you can kind of pick your spot. If you want to go surf by yourself, you can do that. You were talking about Mission. How many people were at the main peak over there?
There was only maybe 8 to 10, but I get a little bit, I don't like waiting. So that's really important for etiquette, is to wait your turn. So I'd rather go to a place like a little further over. Maybe it's a little messier and the waves aren't as consistent, but I know I can just keep going around and around and catching the waves I want. But the jetty looked sick. I mean, there was just a really, really nice left coming off of it, like it usually does. And it's fun in between waves for me to watch people get barreled actually over there this morning. So just nice, cruisy, easy, fun.
So watching people. I mean, I like to watch people, especially if they're good surfers, like to watch their style or what they're doing, and hopefully that'll rub off on me.
Oh, I'm sure you're great.
Yeah, I'm okay. I think if you're a brand new surfer, you'll think I'm good. I think if you were somebody who competed a lot growing up, you might be like, yeah, he's all right.
Well, there's people who competed growing up think that about everyone. How long have you been surfing for? On a side note,
probably, gosh, almost 40 years, maybe 30 something years. I'm old. I'm an old guy. I'm a 51 this year, so I'm on the other side of the line there. So I'm surfing for a long time, but if you saw me surf, you might not think I've been surfing that long. I look at these kids, they're like 12, 13, 14, 15. They rip. I mean, they surf. Some of them surf better than me. I was down at a contest at the harbor this weekend, and I can say confidently that I can surf better than girls under 10. I know I can beat them. I mean, that's about, where it starts to get a little iffy after that.
Oh, well, you know what, Phil, you're better than me, because I'm pretty sure, how in contest coalition, like sometimes they put all of the shortboarding women together. It doesn't matter how old you are.
Right.
And, I'm like, I'll sign up for a couple contests. And I'm pretty sure I've been beat by like 10-year-olds in this contest. They rip, some of them, but they're also, their parents are putting them in right away, and they have the best equipment, and maybe they didn't have to find surfing on their own the same way like somebody like I had to. So all the more power to them, though.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff. It was pretty exciting to watch the Grom surf, boys, girls, and some of it. I was even there for some of the push-in stuff going on. So pretty exciting. But yeah, I used to bodyboard, from a small kid, and then when I got to my early teens, that's when I decided to make the move to surfing, which was, it's funny. Back then, I mean, still now, but back then it was definitely more of a macho kind of vibe out there with shortboarding. Back then was a big thing. And so like there was a slogan that actually motivated me to go from bodyboarding to surfing, which maybe isn't the best slogan, but it was what it was. And it was, be a man, learn to stand, so
Hey.
yeah, so it worked anyways, it got me, and I had a cousin and a couple friends that were surfing or starting to surf at the time. So I figured, okay, I better, stay in sync and on pace with the boys doing that. So how about yourself? How long have you been surfing, Karina?
I'm trying to think so hard right now of a slogan that rhymes with like girl or woman, and I can't. So I've got nothing there to like come back at you as a joke. But so I actually found it right before my 35th birthday. I'm 40. I've been
Okay.
surfing only 5 years,
Oh, okay.
shortboarding consistently for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So it, I mean, much later journey for me, but I I caught on a little quicker than most, I guess. And
Mhm.
there's something about being an adult surfing where I don't care. I don't have the hangups.
Mhm.
Certainly don't have like the athletic skills that a lot of the Groms have.
Right.
But I think the mental game's a lot more stable for me. So
Mhm.
maybe that's why I've progressed a little faster than I would have like 20 years ago. And who's to say? Who knows?
Yeah.
Because I didn't have that opportunity, but I'm obsessed. I love it. I do it every day almost. And yeah, my wetsuit and board collection should probably prove that. It's kind of
Yeah.
embarrassing how many I have.
Yeah. What I noticed with a lot of people though, people learn to surf like to a competent level a lot faster than they used to. So I mean, because I've been surfing for a while, I've seen people, let's say 20 years ago, they would start surfing and they would go pretty much through the same scenario of learning that I did. And so it took quite a while for them to learn. But I think with technology, with YouTube, with all these different um, like how to surf and surf coaches and all that stuff, people seem to be learning, kind of like yourself, like coming to a competent level within 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, where that was taking me like 10 plus years to get to the levels that I see people when I ask them, how long have you been surfing? And they tell me, and I look at their ability and I'm like, that's amazing. I can't, so I feel like I probably, I don't know, maybe I wasted my time surfing at a young age. I should have been doing something else and just jumped in recently.
Oh my gosh, don't ever say that. I'm just trying to make up excuses because there was no way I was going to be surfing and bodyboarding at a young age. I mean, I'm from Arizona, so I'd
Okay.
be surfing in the sand, I guess.
Right.
Or it's North Shore, right? The
Yeah.
movie. He's
Rick
technically from
Kane.
my Rick Kane is from my
Rick
hometown.
Kane. That's right.
There were no wave pools like that, just so everybody is very
Okay.
clear. No
Right.
such thing.
Right.
So
So are you and Rick Kane in the same coalition club or?
totally. We have our twin fin pink boards. We just walk up and down the beach looking real cool all day, every day.
Yeah. Yeah. So what coalition are you part of?
Well, I don't even know if they'd be considered a coalition. I was in the San Diego Surf Ladies for the last actually since I started, so 5 years. And that's how I got the opportunity to do the contest, but they just dissolved about a month or two ago. So I'm looking for a different home because I really do actually enjoy competing. I think it's really fun. I love the contests. It's a good time. You get to hang out and watch people surf all day and then have a break to yourself basically for 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, I think it's really awesome. I mean, I've done a few and I got smoked every time. I've never
Yeah.
gotten out of my first round heat. But well, since you don't have a club, I'll have to plug my crew, which is far away from you, but Oceanside Surfing Club, longboard, but they do some shortboarding
Yeah.
heats as well. And so I've typically been a shortboarder. You mentioned being a shortboarder for the last few years.
Hmm.
You started on a longboard and progress
Like
to
a mid-length, but
mid-length. Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I'm going the other way, and I'm at the mid-length part, and I'm trying to go to longboard.
Nice.
I'm just trying to mix it up. Like I went straight to shortboard. I missed all
Mhm.
kinds of fundamentals probably in surfing. And so I'm trying to just keep it fun, keep it fresh. And so I've been kind of mixing it up, and there's like a different lifestyle and a way you do stuff in the parking lot. I don't know, man. I'm trying to figure it out still. But
Okay, so that's so interesting. Like, what do you think the difference is? Like, what's the difference in the parking lot, or what's the different lifestyle for longboarding?
well, I think so where it's super clear is if you go like to Sano, which
Okay.
I do like to go to Sano a lot these days, not just for the waves, but it's just there's a whole vibe. Well, you're off the beaten path. The parking lot's dirt, right? So you have that, you have the bluffs behind you, and so you kind of feel like you're disconnected from the freeway and the concrete and all that kind of stuff. But in terms of vibe, well, I'm starting to let my hair grow again.
Looks amazing.
Yeah, maybe that's a tough economy. I'm saving on haircuts, but and then it's just like a whole like I haven't like graduated to like full longboard style, but like they like to wear those birdwell breeches shorts, or a little smaller, a little higher up, right? I mean,
Show
I'm
off
used to,
those legs.
yeah, I'm a little longer on the trunks, a little more comfortable with that. But yeah, you got to get those birdwells. My mustache is kind of light. I got to work on that, right? And then my car is a little too new, like and it's changing, like it keeps evolving. So like, just when you like hit, like check something off the list, they move the goalposts. So there's like a new place to be. So it used to be have an old car, right? Like a beat up
Mhm.
car. Now, like literally, no joke, you have to have like parts that are like falling off the car as you drive, like just kind of bouncing, and like those people are like top tier. I mean that's the
Wow.
cream of the crop. So yeah, no leash, which is I'm definitely somebody who loves my leash. I if it's 1 foot, I might take it off from time to time, but yeah, so I'm trying to kind of just, and then there's like a whole way to like surf, right? Well, like behind me, right? Somebody's doing cheater 5, you got to cross step. And so my boards are not quite that long yet. I'm in the mid length. I'm in the 7.2, 7.4. I have a 7.8 on order. That's hopefully coming soon. Tony, TC Surfboards, come on, doggy, look it up. So yeah, so I'm kind of working my way there. And yeah, so I feel like I'm learning. I'm starting over. You draw different lines. Yeah, I'm just kind of trying to figure it out. And I feel like a student again, especially watching the longboarders. I watch them. I think also, when you're paddling out with a shortboard, I mean, at least for me, like I could just, like the waves are coming. I'll just like put my head down and just go till I get to the outside. And with a bigger board, it's a bit harder. You get more banged up. And so I'm learning that, take your time a little bit, let the waves break, then maybe paddle out. I don't have to just cut through and be macho about it, I guess. So yeah, there's all kinds of, I don't know, fun little things that are, some of them are just kind of hilarious. And some of them are obviously like real ways or styles of surfing and techniques. So
Absolutely. I mean, they're almost like two different sports in some ways, shortboarding and longboarding.
yeah, I think also for me it's, well, there's different things that I'm figuring out. So on a bigger board I can sit a little farther out. So like if it's a crowded lineup, a bunch of shortboarders, everybody, if they're at a certain level, they have to be kind of like right by each other, right? And so which is one of the things I wanted to kind of talk about, is like priority. So in competitive surfing, right, there's like a priority situation. There's judges watching you, there's colors, they change up. And so that's very helpful. Unfortunately, in a free surf, if you're at a crowded spot, no one's judging, penalizing. holding up a flag of who's next. And that gets really, really tricky with shortboarding. And, I don't know, you were talking about surfing down the, from the peak today. And, I think with shortboarding, on certain places, certain days, I mean, you could have, I don't know, 10 people in, I don't know, maybe 10 yards of space, maybe. And everybody's savvy enough to know right where the wave's going to take off or, pick up. And so that, figuring out position, rotating, somebody will come behind you by your feet, paddle next to you, or they'll sit right, you're by yourself, they'll come sit right next to you. How do you work with that, Karina? I mean, what do you?
Oh, the bane of my existence. So I think it's different for everyone, and all my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think it is, I hate to mention men and women, but I do think that probably on any given day, honestly, I don't remember the last time I was at Mission Beach surfing and saw another female there. So you tend to stick out a little bit. And I think what I like about Mission is that it's a lot of it is skill based from what I've noticed. So people, when you're all sitting there,
Right.
whatever preconceived notions that people have of you when they paddle out, they watch you, they
Right.
see if you can catch a wave or not. And then the pecking order begins based on that.
Right.
I also think that there is like the parking lot culture and the local culture. So the people that have been surfing there for years and years and years and know it pretty well, they're going to take their waves and they might let people in here and there, but they're going to rotate between the people they know.
Right.
And so it's almost like working yourself in over a period of time. I've been surfing South Mission for a year now. I love it. I go there, people recognize me. They, we don't necessarily know each other by name, but we'll kind of give the head nod. Like I've seen them catch great waves and vice versa. So you get the more you show up, I think the more that you kind of get in line for that, in the rotation. But I don't think that most people can just paddle out and expect that they are going to get into a rotation at a highly like concentrated spot and that it'll be fair and equal. I just don't think it works that way.
Right.
So
yeah, I agree. I saw some story from Wind and Sea, which I don't think it's that notorious. I mean, maybe it is, but I've used to surf a lot of places that I think were a bit more hectic than Wind and Sea. But I kind of heard what happened, and then somebody from the local club chimed in about, hey, here's how it should work or whatever. But when I heard that, I was like, well, yeah, like it works like that if you, like you said, if you live there or if you've put in years and years in the parking lot and you've shown everybody you can surf. But the reality is that I don't really think that there's a turn taking situation. Like you said, I've surfed so long, and if there's three, longtime locals and there's three rippers in there, those six people, they're not really going to say, okay, it's, Joe Schmo's turn to kind of come on in. And if Joe Schmo, or works their way into it, and it's kind of navigating the community, navigating people. So if that person is good at socializing and can kind of, make some camaraderie at the moment with those people, or even what I'll do sometimes is ask, hey, can I go next? Because if it's a place, especially if the waves are good, everybody can surf, everybody can get it. And so the reality is you'll have some people that will be waiting, maybe not even surfing, right? They might just sit there for an hour before they paddle to the inside and catch something. So it's kind of it's weird because like different from other sports, right? Like it seems like people kind of change their attitude like once they hit the water, right? And they go out in the water. It's like all of a sudden it's kind of a maritime law or something
totally
something different, and so for myself, I try. It's hard because I'm into surfing for myself for sure, like a lot of people. but I try to like take note, like if somebody's willing to be out at the takeoff zone, maybe they're not as good as me, but they're a kid or a woman or older person or anybody. Um, Maybe I'll get a couple waves, 2 or 3, and then I might, try to ask that person to come closer to where maybe I think they could take off and go. Because a lot of times those people will be on the sidelines a little bit, which like 5 yards difference can make all the difference of whether you can catch the wave or not, right? And a lot of times those people get intimidated to come in, right? Because I mean, I've played the game with the guys out there, right? So like, when I know this is going on, you come in and you kind of paddle like this, your chest kind of comes up and then, like guys like to like, kind of like be passive aggressive. So like sometimes I'll be sitting in the spot, right? Like, I mean, it's all the spot, but if I'm sitting right there and the other guy, maybe he's a local ripper and he wants to be right where I'm at, which is only a foot over. So they'll paddle behind you and like, they'll just like, they're so technical and yet they make a mishap mistake by like, oops, I hit your foot, like they don't say anything. And you're just like, and I don't even give them the benefit of the doubt or I don't like to give in. So they want a reaction, right? They want to be like around. And so I just ignore them. I act like nothing happened, and that really, really bums them out. Right. And then, and then they do the other thing where it's like, now your turn's, the wave's coming and you haven't moved and you're going to take off. Well, then magically they're coming and they try to pull your leash. Right. And stuff like that. And then the other one is like, when you got a lot of people going, is like, you're both taking off on a wave and they try to like have their board as you're paddling for the wave come up on your board to push it down, and, or you get like an arm tangle. You do this like thing where both your arms are like, so I don't know. That's how close I get to the action anyways, Karina.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So my health insurance isn't good enough to do that.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, so there's people who are super stubborn or not that smart. So they don't really care about their board or their health,
Yeah.
So I'll play it to a point, I don't really like to, I'm usually like, maybe the guy who does it to the bully, because I just don't like bullies, but
sure.
I mean, I'd rather just surf by myself too, but I get competitive, right? And it's usually dudes. Like there's been a couple girls who have been like that too, and I'm typically going to give it up anyways. But yeah, so I get a little competitive when people try to be bullies, but like I wish that wasn't the case, right? Like I wish like if those people kind of ruin the vibe to me, and mess it up for everybody, and like if they're that good, they probably already had like a million waves in their lifetime. So like, I don't know that they need this one wave, this extra wave. They should let maybe somebody take it and kook it, right, and have fun with it. So yeah, it's one of those things where I'm not into a lot of that stuff that goes on, but like I can't change it. Like at least I mean, I can talk about it online, but when you get to the lineup, there's people that they don't really care about any of that stuff. So so anyways, I imagine it's definitely tricky for women. I mean, have you had anybody yell at you in the lineup?
Oh my gosh, so many times. So my first, and I'll get back there, it'll be my home break again, but OB Pier was really where I learned to surf. Right. So that I got screamed at, and there were a few times where I'm like, looking back, you're like, okay, I fully deserve that. But it helps you develop a thick skin really quickly, because you just like, I have one of two options. Right. Apologize and keep showing up, or get ran out of the water. And I'm going to keep showing up. And I think that's actually kind of helped me get better in some ways, is I'm like, all right, like I can feel the shame. I can feel the blood rising. I can feel the anger, but like, I'm not going to let that come in between me and surfing. So, so you learn etiquette fast. You learn where you're screwing up really quickly. And I also think, so on any given day, if I'm feeling at the top of my game, I have no problem paddling right out, sitting at the peak, taking the waves, like being competitive when I need to. But I'm 40 and I get tired half the time. So on those days when I'm not feeling 100%, like I don't mind sitting on the shoulder or sitting on the inside, going to a different peak, because I know that there are people out there who can catch the waves, can surf the waves better, and I'm just like, that's not where I'm at. I'm just there to, have a little soul surfing session.
Right.
And by the way, surfing bad waves or surfing waves that are a little trickier and maybe not as good can make you a better surfer too. Like waves aren't perfect all the time. So being able to
Florida. Shout out to Florida.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
A lot of good surfers
Florida.
out there.
I mean, Kelly Slater came from Florida.
Yeah,
So
right.
I don't know. I think it's important to learn how to surf all different types of waves and conditions. So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of do the same thing. What I trip out on is I'm always, I like to see like, there'll be like a silent ripper in the crowd. And a lot of times like they won't do all that hassling and stuff. I mean, somebody who surfs way better than I do, and I'll see them, they'll actually sit under the crowd, no beef. They're sitting a few feet in, and I'm going, man, this guy's catching like 5 times more waves than I am, ripping them up. Why am I sitting out here just trying to, sit where I'm supposed to sit, right? And make sure everybody can see me when this guy is like, his session's done like in half the time because he already got all the waves he needed and he's out of there and never says anything to anybody. He's not barking, and it, like you said, I think being barked at when you're learning, if you did something dangerous or kooky, like, you can learn from that, and that's the way to go. And obviously there's some people out there who they are trying to force an error on you, right? They're trying to force a situation on you, and they just to yell at you. And so, yeah, there's kind of a fine line. I definitely try to catch myself, like even if I'm not yelling at somebody, but I think I want to give somebody a tip. Sometimes I have to like either tell myself not to even say anything, or like be really like tactful about what I say, because I don't want to be like all the thousands of men out there that are telling a woman what to do out in the surf. That sounds so weird to me. And so like, I don't want to be that guy, so like, that is really, just, I don't know. I've seen that a bunch of times, and I just think like, come on, man, just, like, I don't think everybody's there to try to get tips from somebody.
No, but it's really cool that you consider it and that you've thought about that, Phil, because I've actually thought too, I'm not brand spanking new anymore. I can catch my waves and things. And I wonder, because it wasn't that long ago that I was out there doing stupid things too. Like, I have a tough time saying things to people too, because I don't want to be, man or woman splaining or whatever to them. But at the same time, what they're doing is dangerous, and they're eventually going to get hurt themselves, or get screamed at in a way that doesn't feel great. And so I always am like, what do you do?
Right.
I don't know what to do. I usually end up not saying anything, which isn't the best thing in the world, but so I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, it's definitely a strange sport. If you played baseball or basketball or anything, there's always like people there, on land. There's people who are maybe coaching or reffing, or there's kind of like this way to learn, or there's guidelines are more clear, and like the ocean's moving too, right? So like a basketball court is like pretty plain. There's lines everywhere, if the ball went in or out. There's not as many discrepancies, but in the ocean, it's definitely trickier for a lot of different reasons. Leashes and no leashes. See, I'm taking you deep today, man. We're gonna
love
have you
it.
like
This
schooling.
is so fun.
You're gonna school everybody up today. So I talk about this all the time, and so especially because like I'm going from shortboarding to bigger boards. Leashes are interesting. So we were talking earlier about like what's different culturally for longboarders or the lifestyle, and so the leash thing is huge, right? So if you go to Sano, I mean, I'd say, I don't know, 60-70% of the people don't have leashes on.
Right.
A lot of really good surfers, right? A lot of them who definitely know what they're doing, retrieve their board easily most of the time. But like what we were just talking about with priority, there's no like clear cut like rule or guideline on when somebody can become that person who doesn't wear a leash, right?
Mhm.
And so, I see people definitely going to Santa who they check it all off the list. They got the Birdwell britches shorts on, they've got the mustache, they got the hair, they're taking bong loads in the van. They're doing
Mhm.
everything, right? They got it all going on. And they got to take the leash off then, right? I mean, it's just like
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom. And then they're losing the board. The board's going all the way to shore, or maybe hitting somebody, and they don't really care. So like, you must wear a leash shortboarding.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. And have you ever not worn a leash yet?
Not on purpose.
Okay, right.
So
Yeah.
before I started making my own surf products, and I
Uh-huh.
have leashes now that I actually trust,
Mhm.
I had a few that were kind of the comp leashes, and
Yeah.
so they would snap. And I'm like, well, I could either stop this session or just keep going. So that's the only time I've ever not worn a leash. It wasn't on purpose, but it really, with the crowds in San Diego, there's no way I wouldn't wear a leash, because it's not just about me, it's about other people.
Right.
And I have no desire to hurt anyone or myself. And I think, gosh, if you're on a 9 foot board, you have an 18, foot radius of who
Right.
you can potentially hurt. So
Right.
I don't know, maybe that's a very like girly thing of me to say, but I'm always kind of constantly watching out for myself and other people. So
Yeah. Yeah.
leash all the way.
Okay. Yeah. No,
What
that's
about
cool.
you?
Yeah, I am probably 99% of the time a leash guy. I
Mhm.
I want to be a hater on the no leash, although I could see myself, in 5 years
Uh,
or sometime down the road being that guy with no leash, checking it off my list. And
yeah.
and then I'll be like, well, like I'll have some excuse or reason why. Well, because like I don't know. I've heard, when I've talked to guys about it and they're like, well, I stepped on my leash one time and I'm never going to wear one again. And, I don't know how bad that hurts or not. Or like people want to like do a 360, like,
Yeah.
and do different tricks. And so I see for sure that like no leash could help. I think if you're at a beach where, well, like, so Sano, for example,
Yeah.
another same example, very slow wave. So like,
Yes.
if you're paddling out there, any surfer, ideally, even a new surfer, you might try to be aware that people are not wearing leashes in the particular lineup. And so
Hmm.
you kind of have to have your hand ready in case a board does come your way, right? And block it, or dive under, duck dive, or turtle roll, or whatever you have to do to avoid getting hit by the occasional board that gets lost. And if it's a surfing beach like Sano, there's not typically like a bunch of like kids or families at the shore because it's
Hmm.
primarily surfing. So again, I guess if you're a kid or a family there, maybe you should be aware that people aren't wearing leashes and be ready to retrieve or block a surfboard or pull your kid out of the way in those scenarios. But I surf a lot of places, and it's not like the people who don't wear leashes, it's not like they decide to put one on when they go somewhere else. And
Yeah.
if they're good, they're good. They may not lose it a lot, but it, everybody loses their board. Like there's not somebody who doesn't. So yeah, it's I don't think we're going to solve this dilemma today, but yeah, I
No,
definitely like to hear your input, like to see what you're doing. At the places you surf, are there a few people that don't wear leashes, or?
no, I mainly surf shortboarding spots, and I have only seen maybe a couple people that have gone no leash, and I'm assuming that it's probably, I don't know, they forgot it or something like that. And they're good enough to do it. But I'm with you on the whole, listen, if I show up to Sano or to like First Point, Malibu, I expect people not to have leashes. And it is what it is. It's part of the culture. It's part of surfing in general. Leashes are a relatively new concept. But if you're showing up to Tourmaline, which is a beginner spot, and you're going to go no leash on a crowded summer day. When you lose your board, I'm going to push that board right into shore and watch you swim for it.
I must admit I've done that before, or it comes up to the shore and I'll pick it up and take it like 10 more feet over there. That really
Good on you.
That wins a lot of friends, I'm sure, for me. But yeah, it definitely depends on where you're going. I think also if you're on a short board, a lot of short boards are super thin glassing, and so they damage. And when you damage a short board, like the life goes out of them pretty quickly, right? Like you can only bang it up so much. And I think a lot of longboarders, they have these thick boards. They got a lot of glassing on them. I mean, they can hit the rocks a little bit. If they ding and they get water in the ding, it's like the board is so huge that it's not really going to impact the way the board performs. So I think they might be a little more numb to that scenario. And to be fair, I mean, I've surfed places like Oceanside Harbor where there's some people that surf really well, no leash. They've lost their boards, but they tend not to do it when they're in a dangerous situation. So they either don't go for a wave, or they turn out to make sure that they're not gonna, deliver a board to someone's forehead or to their board. So, I mean, there's definitely people that are really, really good at it, have been practicing it for a long time. I guess I wish there was just kind of like, I wish those people would get together and come up with like a standard. Okay, don't cross over to this crew, because I think what I see is a lot of people, they cross over too quick, right? They decide they want to become a no leasher only because they see other people doing it and it's cool, and they really can't surf any tricks that you would justify no leash with. But yeah, so leashes, you sell leashes, Saltwater Fix, everybody. You got to check her out. She's on Instagram. I'm going to try to, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a couple things right here. I'm always so new at this. I'm 51 years old. I can barely share a screen. So hold up. I'm going to put this up here. Boom, everybody. Check this out. Saltwaterfix.com. She's got her site up. What's up? You're welcome. Look at this, everybody. So all kinds of gears, hoodies, hats, and beanies. Actually, I heard about you from a guy named Joe, and he surfs the harbor with me. Yeah, Joe. What up, Joe? Woo. So that was a few years back. He recommended that I get together with you and have a board meeting. So I'm glad we put this together.
Yeah, thank you. If you head to the surf product section or just scroll down, then you actually see the leashes. I don't know if that'll help at all. The website's getting redone, so you'll have to excuse it. But yeah, 6, 7, 8, 9 foot leashes.
Even 9 foot leashes for longboarders. What up?
I can't forget about you longboarders. I love so many of you.
Yeah, we love to joke about track pad in the front on a longboard, because the people I surf with, we joke about all this stuff, and I surf more like a shortboarder still, kind of very, off the top and stuff. So they always tease me that I need track pad on the front, and they'll send me a picture of some guy on a longboard doing an aerial, which is like,
nice.
Not the coolest move in the longboard world, even though most people can't do it. But yeah, so there you go, everybody. Look at this.
You're creating a crossover world.
Yeah, well, shout out to Mitch Farner, by the way. He was on my last board meeting. If everybody want to go check that out. But he is a very progressive surfer. He's been working on his nose riding game. But I mean, he charges really hard. He charges big waves, Black's Beach. He'll run the peak at Black's on a huge day. So he definitely does all that more high performance. Taylor Jensen, another longboarder, I get an opportunity to surf with at the harbor from time to time, and he just won the US Open in Huntington Beach. So shout out to Taylor. He also one of the only people I've seen who can do an air on a longboard, and they don't like to score him on it, but man, he crushes it. You can't knock him for it. I'm going to switch right here. She's also on Instagram. Everybody loves Instagram. You guys got to hit it up. Give a follow. Look at this right here. She's got her Ocean Beach tees too, right?
Yeah. Shout out to the place where I get shouted at.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, I get shouted out, everything. Look at that. So yeah, a little shaka action too. So yeah, check her out over there. Also, speaking about girl surfers, well, actually, wait, hold up. I'm gonna stop that share. I'm gonna share a couple more pics. So I'm gonna put you on the spot. Oh, what?
Oh God.
Wow. Woo. You see
I look
that?
so cheesy, but I was so stoked on
No,
this. Gosh,
no,
this is over at I know I'm not supposed to say it, but like Ralph's Sunset Cliffs. And
yeah.
I just landed like a or I was like doing a couple turns. I'm like, that's so rad. And then it just happened to have a photograph of it.
Yeah, turquoise weddy, and looks like you're ready to just wrap into a big backside cut back. Just
Yeah.
try to go the other way and probably bank off the whitewash and come back at us again, I'm imagining. And then I got one more right here too. Just to prove you can go backside. Look at everybody.
Oh,
5 years deep. Some of my boys can't do this after 20 years. Look at you.
oh
So,
man, that was in Baja, South Baja, like outside of La Paz. Well, yeah, so kind of Cabo area.
right. So you're not afraid to go backside.
No, I love surfing backside. I feel like you can do like quicker, faster turns backside.
Yeah, I can go more vertical sometimes, I feel like. And you know, so many people out there, I joke because like if you go to like a point break and it's like a right-hander, well, everybody's a regular foot. I mean, there's like, you'll be like hard to find a goofy foot there. You go to a left-hand point break, all goofy footers, right? So I love to torture, like I like to go to I'm a regular foot as well. So yeah, so we're both probably some of the best surfers in the world. But yeah, I like to go to a left-hand point breaks, and I'm going backside. I love to torture those people, you know, put them on edge and make them step up. So yeah, I love to see you going backside right there. That's sick.
I love it. I'm gonna have to crash your surf sessions one of these days.
You got to come up. Well, I mean, I can come down there. I'm such a creature of habit. I'm like anywhere from Carlsbad to San Clemente is kind of my range, and every once in a while I'll dip into like Cardiff or something, which the people have been super nice to me there. Thank you, Cardiff Reef people. I hear they can be a little tough sometimes, but I always have a good time at Cardiff. So yeah, so if you ever come up north, for sure, there's a bunch of surfers up here, girl surfers, like surf cliques, like crews of chicks, right? Like I think one of them's called the Surf Mamas, you know, and some of them have kids, some don't, but they're like, it's like the mafia. When you get like, I see a pack of women come out, I'm like, oh man, I'm not going to get any waves. I got to paddle away. You know,
We're all out there to prove something.
Yeah. So yeah, you definitely got to link up with the Surf Mamas, Sal Jetty, Stephen Back, who's also on another board meeting recently. He surfs South Jetty where the Surf Mamas are at. And, you know, they have to be a great squad to put up with Steven. So yeah, shout out to them. I got to get some of them on the show as well in the future. So
very cool.
Yeah. So everybody out there, speaking of women surfing, Supergirl Pro longboard finals. I went down there this year. I've been focusing, Karina, the last couple of years more on free surfing than competitions.
Sure.
But you know, there's a couple good contests in Oceanside, and I'm trying to support the women's surfing and longboarding because I'm trying to get there one day, and maybe they'll give me some waves when I step up. But I got the finals. I went on a Sunday, end of the day. Finals are always at the end of the day, the hardest time of the day for me to go want to do anything.
Right, me too.
Yeah, I want to clock out at like 12 or 1. So yeah, I went over there though, got some good footage. The girls were ripping, a bunch of people. That's one of the best contests ever because like the fans like really come for the surfing. Like I've been to other contests like US Open and half the people are there for the party, you know, they're not really paying attention too much to the surfing, but Supergirl Pro fans are some of the most sincere, really like stoked fans I've seen out there. People that don't even surf, they just like grandmas bring their granddaughters, and it's super cool. So check that out. I also got shortboard on the same day, quarterfinals. That's on YouTube. And then the last thing I I don't have it up yet, but I just did it last weekend, was called Surf for the Sea, which is at North Jetty Oceanside Harbor. And yeah, I got some of the Grom, some of the little girls, boys, ripping. Like I said, I'll rip on any girl under 10. I'll take your challenge any day. Anybody over that, forget it. I'm gonna bow.
I won't.
I'm gonna bow out. That's cool. So yeah, I really appreciate you coming on and hanging out today, Karina. It was such a pleasure, and I see your videos, watch them, and I dig the creativity and the product line. And so, yeah, I hope to see more of that in the future.
Thank you for having me. This is so fun. You are awesome. And I was so stoked to be here. So thank you.
That's so cool, everybody. So thanks a lot again, everybody. Any shout outs you want to give, Karina, before we cut out?
I was going to give you a shout out, but I think I just did.
That's cool. What? I think that's the first shout out I've ever gotten. What?
Go Phil. Shout out to Phil.
Thank you. Oh, look at this. I got a mermaid in the background just for you today too. I wish I mixed it up. Look at that. See? That's it. That's what you get. That's the treat today. Well, right on, everybody. We'll see you soon for the next episode. And everybody go get some waves today. There's waves out there.
Go get them. Okay. See ya.